Welcome everyone to more live Linux distribution development here out of our office, continuing to increasingly the best Linux distribution, especially for developers and embedded software. And I wanted to do one more cleanup because recurrently those things that annoy me a little bit, it's not the biggest thing, but it's adding up, right? Eventually I clean up here, and today this is also, this passes here, the path is already at times a little bit long, right? So I'm talking build and then the build ID. The build ID will probably not change. The build ID is so long because it's preventing different configurations. Like if you change the configuration to reuse, for example, if you optimize for Zen version 3 and then you switch to Intel Core or whatever, Skylake and stuff, then, and like not to accidentally mix this binaries. This is why the most important things are in this build ID. So I'm not going to change this. Probably also it auto-completes, right? So x86, except that. So what I quickly want to change is this toolchain. The toolchain is where all our main build artifact and cross-compiler stuff is in there. It's also capital, like that you easier can delete it or not rsync it and stuff, right? All the other stuff is usually lowercase. That is, if you were wondering why it is like this. But what I want to quickly change is here this tools, also apparently no I here, tools cross. And this is like what I constantly have to complete and type, right? And so I'm changing, like nearly 20 years later, I will remove these tools here now. Again, not the biggest things. Normally, it's like I procrastinated to do that for probably a decade. I did some small cleanups recently. For example, I removed some I removed here some bin thing, whatever that was. Even forgot what nonsense. All right, so yeah, right. I believe there was some cross CC, which like only recently I was wondering like why do we even have that, and even I couldn't come. Like usually I remember why Claire and I have done stuff, or other contributors at Rock Linux, all the 100 contributors, but like if even I can't remember and don't find a reason why it's there. So I removed here cross CC, I believe. And today I will quickly, like before, like why do I do this now? Because we, with all the probably 5 years live on YouTube, after 25 years in total, get increasingly new users, and going forward, like with hundreds of new users and developers, or certainly soon thousands of new developers also. Why? Because, may I present to you RISC-V, more RISC-V coming soon, and what other distribution would you want to run on your RISC-V board, right? I tried to run, like I tortured me yesterday, 3 hours. It's like, yeah, man, I don't know. Anyway, let's not talk too much about the other 2013 Linux distributions. So yeah, not the biggest thing. So what lives in here, like bin and lib and stuff. So yeah, let's shorten this a little bit, that I don't constantly get removed, because also it's like tool chain and then tools is like here. It's like twice in the name, right? Why tool chain, tools cross is like, yeah, when just cross is enough. So we have thankfully not too many of this. It's a little bit SEDing here, so it's only like SVN. This was not so I have here my cleaner tree, because my other tree is usually quite some changes here, obviously. And if you're looking forward for more non-torture vanilla generic upstream, just a good Linux distribution, RISC-V stuff, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. And I should have been more pro to fit my coffee before the live stream. Why do I always forget such things? And then also I want to finally start the new ISO release, which probably should already. So we have already soon the next month. So let's change the config ID already. This will probably be 23.9, the best T2 release obviously ever. And SED this stuff here. So let's just as a reverse .svn word counts. Let's see, 38 changes, not too many. We will probably also pro tip. Like years ago, I wondered like why grep color. I believe like probably 15 years ago, grep color always outputted escape codes for color, and then they probably changed this to detecting whether it's a terminal or so, is ATTY or whatever. I'm guessing. I didn't check that, but yeah, like probably for 10 years, for a decade or so, you need grep color always for this to work with less. By the way, do you still need less dash? Yeah, you still for some reason need some dash R, because of course you need a grep v. I should have left it in there. So the reason I grab this is to get an orientation, get an overview of what we need to change. So it's kind of one variable. That is, we also have here native, which I believe is only used once or twice. Yeah, so native is only once. And so the difference is one are the build artifacts for the cross bootstrap, and which ironically I only use. Like our cross compile is so amazing, unless I emerge in system, like BSD port style. In system, I simply cross compile everything, right? And then install that on some PCB thing, SBC thing, small board computer. And yeah, so ironically, I probably should, before I test this one last thing, I mean, except fixing some regressions, I probably should native build some stuff, because I have the impression native, like the difference is then after the cross, the native changes, like also decades ago, we only built natively, right? This old crossing was a pet project of mine 15 years ago or so, of making as much. Now we are at 50% of stuff cross compiles, which is amazing. Initially it was only the bootstrap. And so it's changed. The reason why this breaks more is not only I only test cross bootstrap now, but the native build changes the bootstrap of only building cross compiling minimal toolchain stuff, right? And so as I'm not testing it and very few people build it, there might always be one thing that, like one new dependency, one new whatever. Yeah. So we could simply, or we probably, so the thing is, why I review this shortly, and of course I could have done this alone. I think I will mostly, and I really need, all right, darn, I remember the reason why I don't have coffee. My coffee beans, we're out of coffee beans. Damn, let me just grab a lemon. Took some extra seconds to mix it with some cheap tap water, because we're cheap. So we probably want to substitute some of those, especially in packages, maybe not here. That's also protobite, don't touch it, right? The only constant is change and regressions, and then because regressions always help. Amazing achievement. Why is, so if at stage, does some of the stuff even make sense? If at stage cross and tools steer, tools cross, or tools steer. Maybe that covers toolchain. Probably that covers toolchain. But then I guess we wouldn't need at stage cross, so we could always tool steer, tools cross, I believe. Because That is tools cross R and also R. That is confusing. There's also cross CC. Maybe, I mean, probably I said a year ago, maybe we should even remove this use cross CC. Like, I have not used that in 15 years or 20 or ever. So it's basically to bootstrap. The thing is, it's fragile, so that's not bootstrapping a fresh cross compiler. So that's using your in-system compiler, however broken or good or old or new it might be. I would in general not really. Maybe we should freaking remove it. Welcome everyone. Yeah, but that's for another day. Let's not break too much stuff today. By the way, I should maybe style SED also. How many? Always, and I look at old code. Some of my. I need new flaw protection here. How many times do we have then in the beginning of a line? Okay, not that often because it is not my style. Okay, there we have thumb for some reason. Yeah, that's also probably for. I mean, I probably could automate that. Or could I? Actually, it's not that easy because SED. Yeah, so that is super tricky in SED. I mean, SED is Turing complete, so you could theoretically do everything. Why are there so many flies? I need to vacuum this light. There's some standing light here. So yeah, because you would want to combine this with the previous line. So the way to do that in SED is probably to read the next line. It's like to always, it should probably be possible to read the next line and match that for then. And should this always work? Oh, that is super tricky. You probably easier to write a compiler to some generic language to SED compiler and compile that. Yaneth wrote, can you check out the pull request bootstrap? I didn't realize that. GitHub. I saw a new. Oh, darn. Yeah, thank you very much. I need to file a Git report. Thanks GitHub for always probably leaking some stuff. I saw the new commit. I didn't. Not commit. I saw a new issue. I didn't realize that it comes with a pull request. So thanks for that already. Is that the grab? I remember that I didn't realize it was a pull request. So yeah. Thanks for that. I will look into that later. I thought I need to do that, but yeah. I probably should check if we can integrate continuous integration with GitHub. I don't know how much code we could run. It would be funny if we could abuse their continuous integration resources to test compile a small package on their compute farm. Like if with this changes, some package would still build like Bash or Lua or something small. So yeah, I check this later. Thanks for that. So we wanted to grab that. So I could simply substitute that. Found so common there, found a lot of other areas. So the reason, yeah, thanks for that. The thing is, we should proceed with some care. I usually don't do that because it often only breaks subtle stuff, right? I would rather see some changes. Like I'm aware that if you Control-C a package build or a download, I believe 15 years ago it was always working, but now maybe due to changes in Bash or our scripts, that the error, the Control-C abort is not always registered, so that although you interrupt a build with Control-C, T2 might not in var adm package metadata store this as an error, and also downloads if you control C in the wrong moment, which of course should not happen. So I would rather see this bugs fixed of build package and download, control C interruption to properly register that. But otherwise, I mean, yes, theoretically gradual cleanups. I would suggest, like, obviously one change set for one kind of cleanup. In theory, maybe it should be a little bit avoided and with caution. Like, this is basically it. Recently, this tool naming annoyed me enough to finally change it. Otherwise, the other question actually I want to ask, but I'm also like 20 years ago, we thought like we have big Unix machines, like not like DOS, like 8.3 naming and stuff, and which is why we named stuff readable, right? I remember we probably had an argument 20 years ago at Rock Linux with Claire, maybe even at some CCC, Chaos Computer Congress or so, where we always had our yearly meeting. And probably most people agreed we rather name the stuff verbose than abbreviated, because we have Unix, we got this, we have 64-bit computers when others don't and stuff. 20 years later, I'm not sure, because it was nice and verbose and readable. I mean, the question is, I mean, scripts maybe, also maybe we changed some stuff. I mean, download, yeah, so because, I mean, yeah, kernel, because is architecture really that amazing? The Linux kernel, maybe you would, is using just Arch, and PKG would more abbreviated things, and that is also how opinion and opinion changes, right? Like, more than ever, I wonder if this name changes were the most amazing, including many projects. Also, I mean, at least we are consistent, because the Linux kernel is not, I believe. For some projects use short names for some and long names for others. Yeah, PowerPC. So yeah, the Linux kernel is willfully inconsistent, right? So they use PowerPC, not PPC. I mean, the Linux kernel is a mess here in this regard, right? They use PA-RISC when I believe everything else is probably HPPA. They also, yeah, like short, like it's M68K. I mean, what do we even use here? Do we actually use, we actually the one inconsistency is this one here for some reason. But what else would you use? 68,000? What even is there? I mean, that is actually an interesting find. I never thought about this really. Okay, this is actually M68. Actually, are we always using, would this mean we always use Arch machine? Would this match actually for our Alpha Arc? Actually, I could compute that, but okay, Blackfin not. Yeah, HPPA. It's like yeah, why the Linux kernel uses PA-RISC, not HPPA, is also beyond right. Actually, at least ours are always Arch machine, except Super H and Blackfin. But Bfin really sucks, to be honest, and SH too, because it, yeah. So much to that. Nobody can agree to naming. Short, long, abbreviated, permutations, variations. You name it. More comments there. Can't find information about the build docs. The doc folder only has some change logs. The docs actually, we could actually probably delete that. So this is a changelog before subversion, right? That's actually a good point. We theoretically, we could delete this changelog. Actually, it's funny that I forgot that we have that in here. That is actually interesting. There is basically no point of keeping this, to be honest. Except is my name in here? That is extremely pointless. So this is basically with probably Subversion we switched to, yeah, honestly it's pointless. Thanks for reminding. It's an interesting find. Cleaning up more than I wanted today. So yeah, this changelog is, this historic changelog is pointless. What I actually wondered is I once had some, I need to check if I still have some historic Rock Linux and desktop Rock Linux source CDs. And maybe I still have, I probably should one day in winter or so go through all my stack of old hard drives and mount them all, and those who work, and peel more historic sources out there and patches. What would be a cool project would be to recreate at least some of the history from 1998 or so to 2003. The problem is it's difficult because we have this only because there was only CVS, which sucked for such big project as ours and in general. And so we have, it's difficult because we might have some patch files and tarballs, and that doesn't include moving files, right? But maybe that doesn't matter the most. It would be a cool winter project to restore some of the history and although with Subversion or Git it would disturb the history. It would basically a new Git or Subversion thing, source code tree with more history. This like, yeah, this, yeah. But so docs, is this package stuff, is that even of any use? Maybe not the most use. So the other documentation lives online, right? So that would be here. And we once made the effort in T2 to write a big handbook, which wasn't really updated the last decade. That was once very detailed, and yeah, maybe it would make sense to integrate it back here in some new RST or so format, but leave in the comments below. But as this video was about cleanups, you know what, let's delete that because it is pointless. Because most projects agree you have history in source control form, right? Not some arbitrary manually maintained changelog files. So yeah, makes our checkout and tarballs a little bit smaller. Thanks for that. For the other stuff, yeah, probably. The thing is, I don't, yeah, I mean, with my company sharing so much resources, maybe I should hire maybe some intern or so, or community contributions, because I simply don't really have time to I mean, yeah, that's the thing, right? Documentation is important, but do you have time and resources for that? Yeah. Probably it would make sense for some developer downloadable project to have the document, to have the handbook in there, but it would require some modernization and format change path probably. Leave me comments below. So finally, after this chit chat here, yeah, also leave me in the comments. I probably make a poll. Right now we have a poll here. Native text support, it annoys me so much. I wonder, is anyone actually enjoying that? Okay, let's vote myself. How much is it? Okay, some people really think it's amazing. Leave me how. Like if it breaks my copy and paste from text consoles, how is it amazing? Next pull coming. Short or long names. Cheers. Hydration. So, don't forget hydration, I wanted to say. So then, this stuff here. So we probably SED that all. And how much cross CC do we even have here? Does it make sense to... It was cross CC, right? It's not the most, actually. I'm somewhat... Nah, maybe I'm gonna remove it next month. Maybe I should check. I mean, the only point would be to cut down build time, going like cutting down on build time. Like, yeah, if you're not building on Epic and thread-gripping Horizon. Yeah, it's little enough to stay for the moment. The only thing is, the reason I see this here is because some packages have checks for that, which are obviously extremely rarely used. So, yeah, let's probably math SED. That and then manually curate it, maybe because I believe we have a variable for that, this tool steer, and I believe some, yeah, probably some. Like wine and others could potentially change to the tool steer variable. So grep, so theoretically this needs to be skipped, right? And then native or cross. Okay, that needs some more. Okay, that might not work. Tools, how does this even match? Ah, here's also unmatched. Ah. Okay, that is better. Although, whatever. So, because we need the files. So basically, okay, we don't want in subversions, so A to Z. And not download. Okay, I don't have, maybe not downloads here. I guess this was relatively fast. So SED, and this is why I do this in a completely clean tree, right? And I can just subversion, revert and stuff if I have typos in here. So in place, substitute tools dot. Okay, theoretically, okay, let's maybe pre-test that. So do we need the same escapes here? Maybe we do. To just, actually we can capture that. So to just first capture and print. Okay, that didn't work very well. Okay, let's just do this in... Oh, I also didn't have... Okay, that probably works. So that's what I want, right? Build, ID, tool, chain, cross or native. In my opinion, that's better. So this probably worked. The only thing is in this grep, I still need to cut the remaining stuff away. So that would be first column. So for short things I use cut delimiter, otherwise I just use SED. Alright, and then in place and not print. So with not print, like dash n not print by default, and explicitly print I usually debug stuff. And that probably should be actually fine. Of course, some manual review required. Build tool chain, crossband payload. So yeah, theoretically, why do we have payload only support to choose? only support to choose. It's a little bit typo-ish. Okay, so here this check is valid, also stupid. Yeah, as long as you have cross, you see. Okay, this is just some. Yeah, so this is one of those things where we could use tools, right? I mean, maybe I leave this for another commit, so theoretically this should not break something. Famous last words. Probably looks good. Yeah, I mean, you should probably not skip, like pro tip, you should probably not skip reviewing this. I recently noticed that I SAD'd the menu on our website relatively kaput. So much to some duplicate and code total chaos, at least in boards. So yes, and we will improve the menu there soon. So better review a little bit longer than not otherwise. So with this change, of course, every developer we will not make backward compatible provisionings here, right? For T2 developer using this today, just either rename it manually or start a new build. That's also why I do this now before I do all the math building. So yeah, that probably should be fine. Probably should add to the to-do before I forget that. Okay, we've done that, amazing. And then as SAD sum tool chain cross to tools dir and SAD sum then to previous new line. Then also just that I don't forget about some more cleanups. So I guess that should work. Did we had... I don't have diff stats. I probably should kinda add diff stat to this. Yeah, it's probably fine. If not, I will not assume myself. So yeah, we grabbed that. That probably should be all. Famous last words, right? So best would have been to test that, but this is a fully, I mean, I could have tested this, but let's clean up and merge that. Probably should merge, and then what would I need? Now let's probably clean all the builds. Does this not clean all builds? Maybe not for safety reasons. What other comments do we have here? Oh yeah, I had a couple of issues compiling it or not. Yeah, I can believe I patched the grep-e in our, because I find this silly, this deprecation. I patched this away in our grep, I believe, because I also didn't want to touch all the regular expressions and break something else potentially, which is, yeah. So what would I need? Okay, let's do risk 5, because theoretically I would want to check Power VR Mesa here on this Vision 5 board. And also we have CPU cycles, right? Let's also build x86-64 for testing, because why not? So Fendrick said for CI stuff, what you're saying with CI stuff? Yeah, what is, by the way, who invented this RST doc format? Technical documentation, file format for restructured text. Who even freaking invented that? David Goodger. Docutils, SourceForge, RST. Used primarily in the Python programming language community technical documentation. I believe Linux kernel also massively translate to that, right? It's part of the Docutils project, Python doc, thick documentation special interest group. Creating a set of tools for Python, similar Java doc, Java, plain old, Perl. Can extract comments and information from Python programs. I thought the Linux kernel, or do they not? Here, the Linux kernel project decided to transition from docbook-based documentation to restructured text and the Sphinx toolchain. Yeah, also all the so I'm not the super biggest fan of this double new line things. This is just it's always something, right? Even Markdown has variations, right? It's like, yeah, I mean, this is much more reasonable. It's like, why should I have bloody equal signs below and on top of a bloody heading? Yeah, this is how different people have different tastes. Anyway, yeah, so one small cleanup. How long was there? Some 20 minutes a day. We can, while we wait for that, actually package. Do I still have this Linux kernel here? There was this request for SCC cache or so. C cache with cloud storage. Let's package that as one more thing, making our increasingly growing developer community happy. I probably should write a program to extract this from GitHub. Which IP was that? Maybe that? Yeah. Let's see if we can steal it here. Ah, not that. Oh, so I have that. Quite some changes since recently. It's been since Xcode is pouring so many resources into this Linux distribution. It has been a fast development. Don't delay. Try amazing products and services today. Shameless self-promotion plug. So, okay, that's not committed. Then I don't need to retype this metadata. Probably not the latest version, because I stolen this a while ago. Previous video. It's at least building something. Yeah, that's the thing, right? If you have a company backing your Linux distribution, then you can work between a 1750x, 1550x, test build left and right. That is Or it should be, right? What is it even? I should have built it verbose. Not only for views, but to see what's actually going on there. Ah, this is from Mozilla, interesting. Oops. I should always build verbose. How can this build so long? Ah, crates.io. Thank you very much. Yeah, 2023 and packages builds are delayed by freaking. This probably also explains, because I've only stolen packages from Alpine Linux A ports that I auto-converted with some quickly hacked up conversion script that built, and if this is Rust, then that explains why I didn't build, because Rust stuff doesn't, because due to cloud connectivity that doesn't build in an isolated sandbox. Amazing achievement, congratulations. Okay, let's commit this. It's probably maybe partially fine. Let's suspend this already, because we save electrons. And then update that here to 054. Also with that. Try it again, because there's no point of waiting for an old version. Let's see if it works here on this machine with whatever. Yeah, crates.io. Ah, right. This, or does it? Maybe not. Yeah. Yeah, no, it works. Yeah, this isn't cloud-based. It's like air. I mean, micro dependencies, and I'm still not a fan, right? I'm neither convinced nor a fan, and each day it's like, yeah, you want to build something and you create stuff doesn't update, so or it is so slow or whatever. And also I wanted to build, like I was on flights on the last years. I wanted to work on a flight. Yeah, crates.io couldn't build something I wanted with T2 and so on, or in a train, or there even was an outage, right? I mean, our Vodafone's failing, like not provided, recurrently failing, can't recommend, Vodafone's shady, doxes business, and it's like internet failing here, GitHub failing there, and I believe it's hosted on GitHub, right? It's like, yeah, 2023, and 10% of the time, depending how shitty your internet or your traveling schedule is, can't work on stuff because micro dependencies, right? Wouldn't surprise me if. How many are this even? Are this hundreds? Yeah, it's Mozilla. Can't make this up. It's ridiculous. Do they have a proper author? Of course, our meta dependency, our meta data are more rich than Alpine, so some stuff I didn't autofill them most amazing. So theoretically, it's like, yeah, probably many authors. I mean, it's Mozilla. We probably could blindly slap Mozilla on there, right? Yeah, lots of these big corporate packages don't really have an author here. It's like, yeah, Mozilla stuff. How can this freaking build so long? Yeah, it's summer. CPU's getting hot. Should we deal it? Should we? Maybe I should message my neighbor here, der Bauer, if he wants to have a. I mean, deleting, boring for him, but never done that. Deleting cooperation here. Maybe better temps. How can this freaking build so freaking long? That's ridiculous. Yeah, and that is why I'm not the most in love with Rust, right? Between cargo, crates, micro dependencies, and stuff building longer than C compiler, C sources. What did I want to? I remember just one thing. Alright, I wanted to check Giga. Do they have a new BIOS update? Or not to waste my time again with. I was also wrong. Is there a new higher clocking Giza? Oh, super chat, amazing. For example, Alexander. How well does Cache build Firefox uncommon. I have no idea. I never used this, right? Yeah, this would be one thing. I said this the other live stream. I mean, so the problem is always this cache is invalidating due to small header changes, right? So, I mean, it would be a cool idea to set up this builds now. Set up a like hexacode hosted cache for all those architectures, which we could do, but I fear we will have 90+% cache misses. It sounds good in theory, it will probably not work well in practice, because like each small header in your include chain, you have a slightly different libjpeg, you have a slightly different glibc Linux header. Also, we're not updating glibc and Linux headers too often, but nonetheless, right? ICU4C, xlib, like one small update, and yeah, so it probably would be more worth to provide not distributed hexacode hosted C cache, but proper binary packages. It's probably like not building at all, because even running configure would take ages, right? Instead of running configure on a RISC-V quad-core 1.5 gigahertz thing for 5 minutes, just download and install the binary package in probably 30 seconds or so. That's probably what we should do. So yeah, probably not worth setting that up. So no, this is not how your questions are. This is how to make a package. No, how to make a package. Of course, we have documentation, right? And so theoretically is to create a package. And I have not stolen most of the 5,000 packages. I mean, T2 and Rock Linux are 25 years old, right? I did not steal all the metadata. This is just a recent recurring joke. And I probably should write more conversion scripts. Fun fact, 15 years ago, we had a conversion script of stealing this metadata from Freshmeat, but Freshmeat closed. Maybe I should resurrect it and steal from Fresh, what is it now, Fresh? Whatever, Fresh, what is it now, Fresh Code Club of all things, which is somehow, yeah, this stuff in new. So the way to make a package is to read the documentation, which should have that broken out. And so there is package metadata, right? There probably is somewhere a package inside T2 package description file. So next here. So that is the documentation, right? So usually you go in here and you want something in Xorg and you mkdir foo, and then you go in there and then your preferred editor and like you add this text here, right? IT. So, but what I usually do is I usually then copy something similar. So I would copy like xterm just to have a skeleton, right? And then I would, do we don't have xterm there? Where do we have xterm? Is that not core Xorg for some reason? Ah, no, it isn't. It's not core X. Oh, yeah, okay. It always was freestanding. So I would usually copy something from T2 that is similar just to have the tag layout and then like delete that here, right? It's like, yeah, some stuff. But we probably should ship with some conversion scripts of snitching some stuff from like pre-filling mostly from GitHub or stuff. But here, copy a similar package and tweak the metadata as needed. It's probably the easiest thing to do. So we have a package that is scc cache for one more package here of sc cache. Freaking build freaking long. 100% relative. Can this be 100 or? Oh, I deleted more. Well, we need to rebuild it. Sorry. Let's suspend this shortly because I just deleted. Yeah, clever from me not. Let's rebuild binutils for highly accurate cached times. I had this, but I just wiped it in this live stream. So yeah, pro tips like. Yeah. Okay. It also. Yeah, the build time was shared with two other massive builds, so probably SC cache builds a little bit faster than it looked. So let's do this one more time. Add the cache and call it a day. And thanks again for the super chat, new coffee beans. Urgently needed. So let's build that again, this time without. Let's see, although it might be, I will resume the other builds that I suspended here with Control Z. And stopped the right word, probably stopped right. We could check the load. It's like here, it's not the most embarrassingly parallel. It's like here. Because it's just, so why is it not more parallel? Because it's too many freaking micro dependencies. It's like, yeah. Okay, so, I mean, we don't log the wall clock time. We cache the total CPU cycles, CPU time to be precise. So the total accumulated all cores utilized CPU time. And here it's linking, LTO linking forever because, yeah, Rust C, of course it does. And that is why we build more stuff. Yeah, it's somehow Rust is for me a little bit of a double-edged sword. You know what? I like to pronounce sword. Like sword is so silly. Tell me there must be some English-speaking nations like Australian, New Zealand or Canadian English where they're freaking... Someone in this world must pronounce sword and not sword. Write it with a freaking W, man. Anyway, yeah, double-edged sword. Good intention, relatively good core language, but the whole ecosystem is ruining it for me. Plus the long compile times. How many freaking micro dependencies are this? Let's bet. I bet 100. Pause the stream. Bet in the comments below. Compiling over RDM logs. It's hilarious. SC, C cache. Word counts. Oh, 200. You got this. You had me at 200. How can I mean, I thought I estimate high, but I mean, yeah, it's Mozilla. All right. I probably. Are this, by the way, you know what? Let's deduplicate that. Are they? I mean, yeah, we could directly pipe that through sort and word count. Here, I mean, this is silly and said it's ridiculous. It's sort unique sort numeric reverse, but no duplicates. I mean, yeah, okay, there are no duplicates, but I mean there are. I mean, duplicates in array vector. It's like, is it not amazing? Who would not want the same, slightly different binary in their executable? I mean, if we could do that with sort cut delimiter. What is it? Field. Which field is it? And now it's finished. Let's quickly check how many deduplicated microdependencies. Where do we have? Why do I have? What have I done there? Grab compiling? I have this twice for some strange reason, probably some editing. Field 2, there we have some more. There we have it. Sort, so that is sorted, unique C, sort N. It's like here, 3 times, 2 times. Yeah. Super amazing. I've no idea how. 250, yeah, that's more reasonable. Yeah, no other dependency, because everything is like no insistent dependent, like kind of sort of no insistent dependencies, because everything is loaded from the cloud and freshly in 280 micro dependencies. It's like, yeah, normally there should be like libraries, right? Like set standard and ASCII encoding and base64 and stuff, but no, Rust has only cloud dependencies. Yay. I don't think that is a good path going forward, but yeah. And so that is Mozilla. So how do we write this here? Org inc Mozilla community. Yeah, whatever, doesn't matter. Maybe we should sync all of the occurrences of Mozilla one day. So, yeah, the build time estimate will be off for all the Rust packages, unfortunately. Maybe we should have a parallel, because it's LTO linking just so embarrassingly long, right? It's, yeah. Is APL correct? Probably it is, right? Where's the license? There's a license. Yeah, Apache too. So there goes that. Also somehow we missed what happened there. Ah, darn, that was stupid. Yeah, somehow, yeah, wasted some CPU cycles. So this happened because we manually edited the build ID and this didn't rebuild sometimes. Very rare thing. It's, you know what, let's copy that because I don't want to rebuild bean utils. There's even 23.6. Yeah, maybe I should fix this someday. This is a little bit, not the first time this wasted some time for me. Anyway, we did some stuff. We do some test build, and then there is still a little bit of last minute regression fixing, unfortunately needed. Plus, latest Linux kernel doesn't LTO on x86-64 anymore because of the AMD mitigation fix there. I still hope they merge a fix. Although, yeah, if they don't fix that, you know what, it probably makes sense to wait for 6.5 in some days, and then, yeah, that probably makes sense. Maybe they, whatever happens with this, because obviously I spent so many efforts to support LVM cling, LTO linking the Linux kernel, and then they break it for the most #1 mainstream architectures, that is AMD 64. Yeah, professionals at AMD and Intel and the Linux Foundation. Anyway, that's it for this video. We did some stuff in Australia. Would never pronounce the W in sword. Yeah, then I was just, I didn't say you would. I was only asking, does not someone in sport? Am I the only one who thinks sword sounds so much nicer than sword? But anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this and learned something. Next would be precompiled headers of all of include. Yeah, I was just thinking this the other day. So the GCC package would ship a precompiled libcxx header that I noticed 15 years ago or so because it was so whopping large, and it makes no sense, right? Maybe they precompiled for -0, like -02 and -OS or something. I patched that away because it makes no sense to have a precompiled header that is never used, especially if it's so freaking large. But what I was thinking the other day, you know what, let's put this on the to-do, let's be professionals and fill our to-do with stuff. Also, hey, we have done that. We're working on our 600 lines of to-do, which is support like per package also either, or yeah, some kind of G++ pre-compiled STL. So, oops, yeah, STL. So the idea would be that I had the last weeks, months, and obviously don't instantly implement it, but I wonder if we could speed up the T2 builds of C++ packages if we would custom pre-compile parts of the STL. So for example, if you would like, normally it wouldn't be there, right? But the first time, like we have a compiler wrapper, so we could add this to our compiler wrapper, and like the first time a package runs G++, and the precompiled STL is not there in our temporary toolchain directory, precompile it, right? And then the idea would be, probably should benchmark if it works, if it's possible to support that automatically, and whether it speeds up builds. It theoretically should be. That's probably better than shipping a 20 or whatever megabyte, or maybe in the meantime larger, you never know. It was freaking whopping large, embarrassingly large. Yeah, that would make more sense. And then because it also makes more sense because most people change the optimization, right? If you, at least if they're enthusiasts, right? So even if we would have shipped the GCC precompiled header, it would normally not be used. And if people change that to their preferred optimization in T2, it would not match anyway, right? At least I believe it wouldn't. Yeah, plus O2, like, do you use O2? Probably not, and so on, right? I believe that makes a difference, right? I guess it could, probably. Should it even? Actually, that is a good question. But I believe they had this for O2 and OS. Do I misremember that? Should precompiled headers even make it? I mean, you probably could have macros based on the ST. It's a good question. What would be the? That maybe I had once upon a time had to patch it away. No, it's simply disable PCH. That's okay. Whatever then. Maybe other people also thought it's not the best idea to ship in 10 years, like 5 years later, 10 years ago, so they added an option for that or something. Anyway, yeah, builds are going. We did some stuff. If you want to work on that, like patches welcome, right? If you want to work on transparently precompiled header stuff, I wonder if it improves, like I wonder if it's possible like to do that for stdio, and I wonder like so many stuff you could benchmark and stuff. I mean, if you epic thread rip that, it's not the biggest deal, but I wonder if, I mean, on the other hand, C headers are not the most. Does GCC even support this? GCC precompiled C, not C++ headers? Would it? Cannot be used once the first C token is seen. Sounds like. Yeah, C or C++ header. So I wonder if you could speed up the build, like if you build Bash in 7 minutes on your RISC-V silicon, if you could, like if we precompile a handful of C headers potentially, maybe? Wonder if that could work too. Anyway, just some ideas. If you find this interesting and want to work on this, maybe fun hobby, and patches welcome. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this and learned something. We did a couple of more things, even closer to release. Few minor compilation regressions plus whatever comes out of this toolchain rename. We probably should check that, right? Not that, I mean, it wouldn't expect something to go wrong here, but here toolchain, right? And then, yeah, in my opinion, why have toolchain tools cross when you can just have cross a native? That's the change we did here. A small thing, But yeah, keeping stuff reasonable, sorted and simple, and like it also attracts. It is a tiny thing, right? But it annoys me each time. Like I will continue to see it until my pension or even longer. So for another 25 plus years to come, I will see it. And also, like if new developers look at it and if everything is smoothly named, systematically named, and makes sense and stuff, it's of course makes new developers more attracted and more happy than strangely named stuff. What you're saying by comparing here, the precompiled header stuff, what you're saying after seeing what you're saying, would be an interesting experiment. Think about if-def macros. Not sure, interesting. I have not followed. I played with precompiled headers 15 years ago. It wasn't working the most amazing when it was new. Since then we have faster computers. Probably I should double check. If you ever used it, leave the comments below. That's it for this video. Have a good day or night, and I hope to see you soon for the next fun stuff to come. Last question, the precompiled headers in C cache could be a thing though too. Still seen artifacts by flex. No. I would need to check what happens if you change optimization. I mean, they could have some fields for global optimization. Not sure what if maybe they have some safety checks in there. It is possible, but the last time I tried it was over 10 years ago.